All right. Welcome to the Car Reviews podcast on collectorcarcanada.ca. We've got another great one for you today. It's a 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. For you Ontario shoppers out there, this one comes with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate. It's been refinished in deep forest green. So the car was repainted in its entirety before the current owner owned it. And so deep forest green over a cloth interior colored in tan with a little bit of color inside to wake it up a little bit. So you've just seen the top in motion, and I guess that's the reason to have a Mustang convertible. Beautiful late summer day here in the GTA. This car is being sold out of Toronto. And as I say, Ontario Safety Standard certificate coming with the car. The 4.6 liter V8 engine has propelled the car about 197,000 kilometers. And before you poo-poo that as being high mileage, consider that a derivative of this engine went into the Crown Vic police cars. They turned into high mileage Crown Vics, and they turned into higher mileage Crown Vics when they became taxi cabs after that. You still see them on the road everywhere with far more mileage than this car has. So we're going to start this one up. We'll listen to the engine, the idle, and we'll continue with the tour after that. So I'm going to click on the other microphone to give you a sound of the start. And here we go. So no problem at all with the start. The car's been driven a little bit. We do have a cold start video on the detailed listing. This one is lot 303 on Collector Car Canada. So I'm going to jump out now. We'll change the camera angle. I'm going to pop the hood, and soon we're going to be checking out that engine running and then the exhaust. Here we go. All right, a straight on look at the 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible, which comes with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate. So I've got a second microphone in my hand here. I'll just turn that on as we get close, and let's listen to this 4.6 liter V8 at idle. There's the GT emblem with the 4.6 liter reminder of what the displacement of this V8. And now let's take a listen to the pipes back here. Dual exhaust. So there's a good listen to the Mustang GT at idle, 1997 model, convertible with the 5-speed manual. So I'm going to cut the engine now. Maybe we'll take another quick tour of that engine compartment with the engine not running. And a nice appointment right in the centerpiece is this Mustang emblem right there, a nice touch. You can see the MAF and the intake, valve covers, V engine, valve covers on either side, alternator with those spinning belts you saw, and a neat stabilizer bar too. Having driven some of these SN95s, the 94 to 04 Mustang, compared to the Fox bodies, which ran from 79 to 93, certainly my driving impression is that they're a firmer ride. They feel a little safer and a little easier to toss around in the bends. But of course, Mustang people, lots of them anyway, like to modify their cars. The nice thing about this car, I suppose to each his own, But one differentiator on this car is it is not modified. So uh, all but stock condition. As I say, I mean, it's had some part changes over the years to repair worn parts, and it's had the repaint I mentioned. But for all intents and purposes, a stock unit. So next up is our exterior tour. Getting a little late in the day, but we still have some sunlight to show off the deep forest green refinish on this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. It's lot 303 on collectorcarcanada.ca. I mentioned that the car is equipped with its original 4.6 liter V8 engine, unmodified. And out of the factory, that was good for 215 horsepower. Certainly, the Fox bodies that came before this car were rumored to be underreported by Ford in terms of power. Not sure about that on this car, but as I said earlier, despite this one being an unmodified example, there are all kinds of mod shops that will help you hop up if your Mustang V8 if that's what you want to do. A couple to look at online that just come to mind are Summit Performance, CJ Pony Parts. Someone's showing off. I don't know if you could hear it, but there was a burnout over there. It might have been a newer Mustang. And the other one that comes to mind are the big guys like Shelby American and Steeda. So let's get in close to this deep forest metallic repaint. Um, on the front to bumper cover, I'm seeing what are mostly bug marks, but I suppose some of them must be little stone chips, but only on the poly portion of the bumper cover. I'm not seeing them on the steel here of the hood. And one other imperfection I noticed on this poly cover is there's a bit of a rub here. I've got a business card. I don't have my handy dandy tuning like I do normally, but it feels pretty smooth. Maybe it'll buff out, but I'm not going to promise anything. Let's take a look at the stock wheel. So 5 double spokes with the Mustang center cap. The car's got Zeta ZTR10 tires, square setup, 245 45 ZR17 with a W speed rating. The good news is that to pass the safety, the car needed 2 new tires. They're not installed right now, but the owner tells me he's ordered the 2 new tires and they're going to be installed before this car goes to its new owner. He's going to try to arrange to have the 2 new ones put on the rear, even though it was the front ones that the mechanic didn't pass. And even so, these tires up front, they look pretty good. So all that to say, the tire doesn't pass the safety, it doesn't pass the safety. But if they look that good, I think it reflects well on the owner that he didn't wait too long or push it too far. So there's the GT 4.6 liter emblem. You see those on the early SN95s. I suppose starting in 1996 model year though, because the first 2 years of the SN95, the Mustang GT retained the 5 liter from the Fox body days. So dual mirrors on either side. They're not color coded, so the black plastic providing a bit of contrast. A pretty neat skirt system here, and then an intake in front of the rear wheel. Keep things cool back here. And there's another Zeta ZTR10, 245 45 ZR17 with the W speed rating. Convertible top, uncovered. Power top, I already demoed that for you in the video, of course. And then when the 4.6 liter went into the GTs, they went from 3 horizontal slats to the 3 vertical slats you see here for the tail lights. Dual exhaust, as I demoed earlier, and those chrome pipes might look like a Canadian Tire add-on, but those are stock items. So that shows off the dual exhaust from the factory quite nicely. Working our way around, of course, Mustang GT is embossed here on the rear bumper cover, much like the second generation Fox body Mustang GTs. We've got a Ford emblem here, and above, of course, on the trunk lid, there's a pretty cool looking spoiler, painted the deep forest green. And working our way around, here's another look at a chrome extension on that exhaust. Red reflectors on either side. And then stock wheel here. So these wheels, original wheels, impressive condition, not perfect. But yeah, these wheels have been with the car for, what's that, 28 years. So they're in pretty decent shape. Again, the rear tires that are currently on the car pass safety here in Ontario, and the fronts are going to be trashed. But the ones we're looking at now on the rears, they're going to be put up front by the owner's preferred shop. Another look at the skirt on the passenger side and that opening, that vent opening. Passenger side mirror. And here's the matching GT 4.6 liter emblem here on the passenger side front fender. Another wheel to look at. Looking pretty sharp, not perfect, but pretty good. And then working our way to the front, we did see the bug marks and some minor stone chipping on that poly portion of the bumper cover. One other thing I'll mention, the owner pointed this out to me, but he said he liked it. This originally was chrome painted, so the paint's come off and it's pretty much black. You can see a little bit of chrome left over. But for the stock look, maybe you just repaint that. That looks like a simple 30-minute Saturday morning job, should the new owner want to do it. I mentioned the red corner reflectors on the rear, not needed up front because of the lenses wrap around. One imperfection I did notice over here on this repaint is there's some overspray here onto the black rubber. But the imperfections I found in this repaint, they exist, but they're mostly in areas that are not really noticed much. And I'm just thinking of it, I'm going to show you one more. I'm not going to show you the trunk in this video. We did shoot the trunk portion of the video before we shot the rest of this car review video, and that's because there are a lot of personal items in the trunk. But I'll run the camera along just this edge of the trunk, and you can see this repaint is imperfect. However, when I close the trunk, that portion of the paint job is not even visible. So I wanted to show it to you, but I don't think it's really much to get excited about. We've lost our sun, but that deep forest green is still looking pretty sharp here on this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible with an Ontario Safety Standards certificate. That's it for the exterior. Let's take a look at that cabin. First thing I'll show you are these keys. So when the seller bought the car, it came with one key only. Soon after, he tells us he bought the fob and another blank key. He's had the blank key cut, so it operates the doors, but it was never programmed, so you can't start the car with it. So it operates the doors and the trunk, but not the ignition. Same deal for the fob. He's never had it programmed. So the new owner might choose to do that, but it's never been used and not tested. So a good look at the tan interior. There are flaws in the interior as well. Nothing too serious, but I do want to point them out. Couple of slices there in the vinyl covering on the door card, and a couple chips there. And the other item I really noticed in this car is a lot of the controls and some even the tan color is sun bleached. So that's an indication that the car's been driven a lot with the top down, which would also be an indication that it wasn't driven much in the winter or in the rain. But yeah, so there is some sun bleaching on these controls. You can see the car's got power windows, power locks, power mirrors. It's got cruise control. It was equipped from the factory with an air conditioner, but this owner really bought this car to enjoy on the sunny days with the top down. He's never he knows the air conditioner is not running, but he's never had it tested. So budget for replacement of some of the AC parts if that's something you're looking for. But as I say, the current owner, it wasn't a priority for him. One other flaw I'll show you, the original visors are showing somewhere. The current owner, though, he says he likes having the originals, and although they're worn, he does have his original visors. So further along with the options and goodies, oh, there's a power seat. I didn't mention that with the power accessories. We demo that in the videos on the detailed listing. So 1997, people were all over CDs, but they weren't ready to give up their tape deck. So this car's got an AM/FM cassette deck as the main head unit, and down below there's an accessory CD player from the factory. There's a look at the 5-speed manual shift knob and shifter. There's the handbrake. Oh, another item that I want to mention. This is the switch for fog lights, and the owner did have the fog lights checked for the wiring. The wiring is ready to go, but there are no lights up front. You might have noticed that. And this is the control for the power top. So looking at closely at the instrumentation, again, the car is going to its new owner with under 197,000 kilometers. This speedometer over on the left has a max reading of 240 kilometers an hour to indicate a Canadian market car, and an 8,000 RPM tach with a red line at 6,000, which is about what you'd expect for a V8 of the period. On the left, we've got coolant temperature and fuel gauge. On the right, a voltmeter and oil pressure as well. Old time lights, you just pull that one out, and there's the defroster here because the power top does come equipped with a glass window with the rear defrost. So you can, if you take a quick close look at these carpets, you can see the original carpet on the outside of the mat is not quite the same match as the mat. I suspect the original carpet was the color of the mat, which it's got a couple of seasons on it, and the Mustang embroidery really wakes up the interior. So I'm suspecting the carpet that's installed in the car, as opposed to the mat that's just placed, is sun bleached, like I was showing you those power windows and power lock buttons for the driver. Don't want to go right through the glove box. There's some personal items in it, but I wanted to show you that it comes equipped with a trunk release right there. And then in addition to the glove box, there's a little storage unit here in the console. Handy. There's some water staining. I think it's from spilled drinks on the seats. You can see some there and there. Not on the outside where you'd expect if there were to be water leaking. It'd be on the outside of the seats. And then in the rear, as I said earlier, this car has been driven primarily with the top down in the summers by the owner. I should also mention that of the 190, just under 197,000 kilometers, the current owner's had the car about 2 years, but he's done 32,000 kilometers in it. So this car has not been sitting. It's been used almost daily. So it's been exercising and not atrophying in someone's garage. But so I wanted to say how the car has mostly been driven with the top down, because there's some evidence that in a prior life, this car might have been owned by a smoker. I noticed here there's some, well, it's just not a flat surface there. And my suspicion is that someone might have had a cigarette in his hand in 1998 while shifting gears. So in first, third, or fifth, that might have melted some of that plastic. And then back here, that looks like your classic someone intended to throw a cigarette out the window, which is Canada's last socially acceptable form of littering, it seems. And then there's another mark there. And then this is a tear. It doesn't have anything to do with burns, but there's a little tear there, and you can see it in relation to the standard size business card. So I do want to be clear about that. Suspected original owner smoker car, but there's definitely no smoke odor today because the wind blows through this car beautifully. I suppose I implicitly showed you the rear seat there. You can see a couple of speakers on either side. Down below in front of that mat pocket on the door, there's a speaker. The really great speakers are here on the top of the driver door, and they're evidence of the Mach 460 Ford audio system. We actually tested out the radio earlier, and if you've got a clear FM signal, these speakers are such that they can make the side mirror vibrate. So that was interesting. Pretty clear sound for 28-year-old equipment. Uh, so bring your CDs and maybe even your cassettes. So that'll about do it for our interior tour. I don't think I mentioned this tilt steering wheel, but there it is in action. So yeah, and another item to say for 1997, there is a passenger side airbag. So that'll wrap up our interior tour. Let's move on to some closing thoughts. There's a good look at the vehicle info data decal, but we've got a photo of that on the detailed listing for lot 303. A last item to mention on our interior tour. Despite being a 1997 model year car, it's equipped for somewhat for modern times. There's a power outlet here, 12 volt, and there's an ashtray hidden in here, another 12 volt outlet for charging. Editing in on the trunk while it's empty. We've got gray carpet, your typical trunk, sort of hard finish carpet. The trunk lid, the underside looks nice and clean. And there are some stills of this and even a video, but there's a look at where the paint job is not quite up to par, but most of those spots where the paint job's not ideal are in areas you don't see much. And then down below there is a spare tire with change kit and an air filter for the next oil change. I think the owner told us the most recent one was in November of 2024, so it's probably due before being stored for the winter. But good looking metal down here. I don't see any hints of any corrosion. So that's our comprehensive look at lot 303 on collectorcarcanada.ca. It's a 1997 Ford Mustang GT, 5-speed manual convertible. It's going to its new owner, should that owner be in Ontario, with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate. All it needed to earn its safety check was 2 new tires. So I'll also mention the mileage. It's going to its new owner with under 197,000 kilometers. And during the owner's ownership tenure of the owner, he bought it needing a little bit of work. It had the engine light on when he bought it. Put about $2,000 into some engine refurbishment. Nothing too serious. We have the work order on the detailed listing. The thing I remember seeing was that the intake manifold was replaced at that time. Other items on there, other than your typical maintenance like oil changes and the like, where there was a resealing of the fuel tank. There was something related to the front suspension or steering. Again, we've got the service record on the detailed listing. And then more recently, he had the previous owner had put a sequential indicator system on. I kind of laugh at those. They seem to be a trendy thing right now, where when Ford was the one who invented them. It was not standard equipment on this car in 1997, but someone somewhere along the way put it on, caused him some problems. So he just had it torn out and he went back to original. Probably the smart move if you want a reliable car, because this was his daily summer driver. Again, of those 197,000 kilometers, in the past 2 years, about 32,000 have been driven by the current owner. So the car's been getting its exercise, not collecting dust in a garage somewhere. So that's about it for this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. Comes with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car.